Hey, this is Robert. Welcome to another episode of the Sketch Magazine podcast. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. How about you, Bob?
Doing good, doing good. You ready for
Awesome.
this one?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I
So
am.
today we're going to talk and discuss and maybe cuss a little the pros and cons of hiring an artist.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. We both have done that several times.
Yes. And I have
Yes.
been hired. I've also worked for other publishers.
Yes, you have.
So I have
That's
been from that
true.
side. I just thought of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Um, so I to start with, we're going to start with you because you have
Oh,
rather positive
yeah,
feedback for this.
I do.
Yes.
I'm going to knock on wood because I've had some really good luck. I have hired a total of 4 artists. I think we talked about, yeah, 4 artists in the past. Um, I'm primarily an inker. When I pencil, it's all cartoony and I draw really slow.
Right.
And I second guess myself, so I'm always hiring pencilers.
Right.
Really,
Right.
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 So the first guy I hired turned out fine, well, actually better than fine. He was great. His pencils were kind of weird though. They were like really open, and sometimes I didn't know what I was inking until I was halfway through it. Oh, that's a
Right.
hand. Oh,
Yeah. I think I
yeah.
might have
Then I
hired that guy for this
you
issue
you,
too.
you
Yes.
did, and then the
Yes.
second guy I hired for a second volume of Unit Primes was Giuseppe D'Elia, and I still work with him.
Yes.
He currently pencils Freaks and Gods, and pretty much he's really pushing for another Tales of the Dark Tunnel because he wants like a large Golden Age hero event, and I'm like, well, we'll
Ooh.
see. Yeah, I know
Ooh.
it sounds cool.
Yeah, it
I just
does.
don't want to be like, oh, you're copying other major
Uh,
events. But yeah, he's still with me. And then a third guy I hired did one issue, and I didn't like what was going on towards the end of it, so I didn't bring him back. And then the
Right.
fourth guy I hired, um, Sean Van Briesen, I think. I don't have it name in front of me, and if you see this, Sean, I'm sorry.
Oh
But
no.
he penciled the 10-page story that was in the back of Tales of the Dark Tunnel, Scarlet Unknown. That
Hmm.
was fantastic because he really
Oh
got
yeah.
that 70s kind of feel to it. So
Right. Right.
so basically the reason why you started with me, Bob, was because I got no complaints.
Ah, well,
I mean,
you're gonna also notice that we only mention names of the positive creators that we worked with.
well, the
Yes,
first guy
and
I
we will
hired, he
we
was
will
good.
keep
I
it
can
going.
mention
He
his
was
name.
good. He was good. He
Yeah,
was very good.
yeah. This is
You just
yeah.
you just never exactly knew what you're inking until you're halfway through it.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what?
it was sometimes a mystery.
He didn't use X's to denote like black areas.
Yeah,
He'd use a tick,
yeah,
like a t- but then
right.
sometimes he would do a little bit of that to denote like texture. So I'm
Hmm.
like, I didn't know what was going on half the time.
Yeah,
But
that.
once I figured it all out, the book looked great,
Oh, no
you know.
doubt, no doubt. My
And
issue looked great
he
too.
turned everything in on time. I mean, it was
Right,
this was before you were sending pages through the interwebs. I mean,
the interwebs. Oh
yeah, he
gosh.
had to showing my age. He had to mail these things to me.
Right, right. I
Um,
remember.
but yeah, so even though the one it didn't quite work out for another issue, I still got everything turned in a little late, but I still got it.
Right, right. Yeah.
So
So no, that's good. Um, my recent experience has been okay. Let's just put it this way: I'm designing video games now, not comic books.
because
Um,
it was that good of an experience.
no, no. Um, it's sort of not. It hasn't been. So let's just sort of say we're saying pros and cons of hiring an artist. There can be multiple artists that you can hire. You can hire a penciler, which I'm glad you brought up.
Right.
Yes, you can hire an anchor, which
Yep.
you've been hired
Yep.
as an anchor. Um, so and then colors, but that's a whole different. I consider that a different part of the book.
Right.
That's a different function. So really, a pencil or inker. One artist can do both. One artist can
Hmm.
do either or. And it really comes down to, what are you going to contribute to this project? Are you going to be the artist, or do you need an inker? Do you need to hire an inker, or are you an inker? That would have been me, and I went and hired artists.
Which I did.
So yes, and I've hired artists for 30 plus years. It sort
Hmm.
of started off as the guys worked in the studio, did the pencils, and then I would ink, or another inker was there and we would ink. And then as things developed, we're hiring outside more. And I've had some wonderful deals. Greg Land was one of our earlier artists that worked for us in Stormquest, and that was his very earliest work.
Hmm.
And he got to go on to DC and Marvel and create a great career, you know. Um, Another artist I've worked with is Willie Peppers, wonderful artist. He's done a lot of our look and feels, and he may be doing a project for the video game for us. So we're talking to
Hmm.
him about doing a poster. Brad Gorby, mm, he's a friend. He was a good guy, very good guy. Created the look and feel for the Blood and Roses, which pretty much launched my whole universe with those two characters. So Brad really was there in the early. I got to think a lot of his stuff. He's done work from Todd McFarlane to Eclipse to a bunch of different publishers. So I've had a lot of good times in the past. More recently, I hired an artist. The number one mistake was no contract. Number two mistake is I fronted money. Oh, a lot of
Hmm.
money. And I ended up with uh, less than 5 pieces of artworks before he just disappeared and quit taking calls and everything.
Mm.
And that book turned out to be my first novel, and it turned out to be a bestseller on Amazon as a novel. So
Right.
in
Well.
return, we were able to take the characters, the property. I was able to take the story, flesh it out, and do something totally different with it. We still have some artwork that we can use down the road for bookmarks if we decide to do that. I noticed in books you really don't set the look and the feel of a character very often, because you want the reader to do that in their own minds.
Right.
Most recently, we did the Paradox Wars Kickstarter, and that was
Hmm.
Mitch Bird. I love Mitch. Mitch is another friend of mine. That issue had been drawn for a while, and we had just spent so much time creating another business that I didn't have an opportunity to publish it. So when I did have the opportunity, we put it out, and it was successful on Kickstarter. We
Hmm.
wanted to do a second issue. We hired an artist to do second issue. He did a few pages and a couple character designs, and then something bad happened
Hmm.
because to him and his family. And I think that's been like a year and a half ago.
Right.
And there's only been a couple of communications with him since. And yes, again, because something bad happened to him, I fronted him with some money to get him over it. And we have yet to really receive any. We have no printable artwork. I have low res copies of like a page and two character designs, and that's it.
Uh,
So a couple of rough ones. So with that, I just sort of myself personally, I stepped back, was like, I'm not going nowhere. So either I step up and hire somebody who's going to complete it, which would be like what I call a B grade artist, somebody who's already getting professional work. So then why would they want to work for me?
mm,
Um,
yeah.
go in another direction, and that's video games. The reason video games for me is because I own a retail video game store. I'm surrounded by it every day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm starting to learn the creation process, the marketing. The indie video game market is just like the indie comic market, but a whole lot bigger. It is huge. So
Hmm.
that's where we're going to move Skystorm Universe to, is to that market
Right.
and
Yeah.
give it a shot. But I've worked a lot of artists over the years, and most of the time, it's been an excellent process.
Right.
But you got to go in it knowing what to expect. You got to go in it being very clear. And I would say right now, you got to go in it with a contract. You can get any kind of basic contract online to get
Hmm.
signed up, but you need to get a
Right.
contract signed.
Yeah. The contracts that I offer are a page long.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't really believe there's a whole lot I need to say aside from, you're making this for me. based
Right.
on characters that I've created, so they're mine. Here's what I'll pay you.
Hmm.
Here's what I would like you to do, and here's when I will pay you.
Right.
Um, I think that's what an artist wants to know.
I agree. Well,
You
one,
know,
you're
if
very
it's a
clear of
freelance
ownership.
contract, yeah,
Yeah, you got to be very clear on ownership. You don't want them coming back and says, "Well, I created that character. So, yeah, you did it working on my stuff, so
right,
the ownership reverts to me."
right,
Um, you need to break down: is there stage out payouts? Do
hmm
they get something for layouts? Or they get something for once they start turning stuff in?
right,
So all that needs to be breaking down very clear on both ends because they
exactly,
need
yeah,
to know when to expect the money, and you need to know when you need to have the money to pay them.
right, yeah. I know. I mean, I've always heard on the artist side, I've always heard the contracts are designed to stick it to the artist, but having been on the other side, um, I I kind of can see. This is hard. This is hard.
Yeah, I know. I know.
They're
We said
not
this.
designed to stick it to either side.
They're
They're
not.
designed to if you have a good one,
Hmm.
it's the publisher and the artist is like, oh yeah, that's cool. One thing
Yep.
I don't do is I don't offer anything up front.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Don't do.
and
Neither do I
personally,
anymore.
in my personal, if I were to, I haven't really been searching for any inking work.
Hmm.
Um, to be honest, now that I'm talking about it, I don't know why I haven't, but I haven't. Um, but I do not like getting anything up front, and I don't like getting prepaid for. I just don't personally like it
Right.
because it's a motivator to know that if I get this finished, I
Mhm.
will be paid.
Right.
There's something in the back of my mind that says if I get this money up front, you know, I don't know. It's just something about that for
Well,
me. I don't
I
I don't
think
know.
the difference is a deadline is sort of like you have to date on the calendar.
Right.
The fact of getting cash on that
Mm-hmm.
deadline adds incentive. If you
Oh
get the
yeah.
cash in advance, now it's just a date on the calendar again.
Right.
It takes the
Yeah.
whole incentive away.
Right.
Um, and it, yeah, I've been burnt several times, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, no more, no more.
Right.
We're not doing that anymore. And another thing is when you work with friends, a lot of us have friends who are artists and stuff.
Right.
Even your friends, it is best to go ahead and try to get something in writing.
Yeah.
A
It
price that they agree to and a time frame.
it
I mean,
sounds terrible, but I agree with you.
it does. It sounds really
Yeah.
bad because some of these guys I have known 25, 30 years, and I was reached out for like a cover for the next Kickstarter, and this is a year and a half, and I still haven't gotten anything. Not that I'm going to
Right.
do the Kickstarter, but
Yeah.
I could use the image for something else,
Right.
especially
Yeah.
now we're moving the game. So it's sort of like, and I agreed. The thing is, when you ask a friend to do something for you, tell them, give me a price that you want for it. Don't give me a friend's price. Don't give me that, it's Bob, I'll do it for this. No. Give me the
Right.
price that you will get it done for.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can afford that, then that's fine. If I can't, I'll be honest with you and tell you I
Right.
can't.
Right.
But yeah, it's sort of a mm,
Yeah.
sort of like it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard. It's really hard to work with friends. But I mean, if you're out there doing shows, you made friends. We all get around together at the bars and the hotels and go, oh, we should just do this, do that, whatever.
Yeah.
And then most of the time it doesn't go anywhere. But when it does,
Yeah. It's a
you know,
lot of talk.
yeah. But when it does, you need to get something in writing of who owns what, who gets what, and if you really want to get
Right.
something going, um, to be honest, 99% of the time, and I used to travel into a lot of shows, nothing would come of it.
Right.
But the few times that it did was us pushing it forward, keeping things moving
You
in
know,
the
this
studio.
this reminds me of something that I'm kind of in the middle, not in the middle of, but
Mhm.
I created a character, which basically his this character's creation creates the entire story and world. It's one of those kind of things. It's kind of
Right,
like Ben 10 has the Omnitrix. That is the entire plot,
right,
of
right,
Ben 10. I mean, yeah,
right.
that's all you need.
Mhm.
So I thought, hey, I'll bring a friend in just because we've always talked about doing this. We batted ideas around. We got stuff written down. I liked where kind of it went, and I kind of didn't like what it was going. And then it
Right.
just kind of all tapered away. Now I would like to return to that character potentially. And
Right.
now I have to sit there and slice apart what we've created and maybe get a hold of him and say, hey, look, I'm going to do this, but I don't want your help.
Ooh.
So, my wife says, well, create something new. That's not the point. I've already
No,
got
I
it. It's like,
like
right.
this.
It was
Eh,
mine to begin with. you
right.
know,
Right,
but
right.
these are just the kind of things you need to think about. Now,
Mhm.
friends are not the same as hiring somebody, which is
No,
what we were
no.
supposed to be talking, right?
And
But
the thing is, when you run into that though,
yes, you do.
um,
Yeah.
I was always, I guess, lucky is that by owning Blue Line,
Hmm.
we always had offices. So I always had a studio around me up until 15 years ago, I guess.
Right.
And I mean, we would do other things, open up comic shops and do other things, but we always had a home base, a studio. So I always had people in the studios, Dave Mack from Kabuki and all that and
Right.
everything he's done. He started off working at nights in my studio. I'm using it because he's here locally. There's several guys who went on and worked at Caliber and stuff who worked at our studio. And so it was always a feel of you're hired for doing this. Do
Hmm.
this, you're part of, you're getting a paycheck, you're hired, and then da da da. So I always had that feeling of you're hired. I'm going to hire somebody to do this because I don't want to own it at the end of it. And
Right.
now it's going on over 30 plus years of doing this. I'm glad I did.
Hmm.
I hear stories of the good old boys getting around the hotels and the bars and creating this big universe and putting out something. And none of them talk to each other,
Right.
and they got the rights to do something with a character that's still being published even nowadays. And they sort of traded off the rights to do that because that guy wanted something from them. And I don't think they'll be able to get together to do it. I mean, I hope they can. Hope
Yeah.
they can put their differences apart and or whatever it is that's causing it. But yeah, it's a
Right.
thing that I never wanted to have to do because
Well, the thing is, though, is that in this example I gave, my friend, we're still friends. I mean, we
right.
we we text, we talk all
You
the
won't be
time.
after you tell them you're kicking them out of the story, though.
Well, we haven't even worked on it. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, I don't. So I actually just kind of sit back and go,
Yeah,
maybe I will have to think of something else.
yeah, just
So remember how we always say, hey, you need to. I keep saying I want to write a book, and
yes.
I got too many ideas. Well,
Hmm.
some of the problem I'm running into is this kind of stuff,
Right.
where I've taken my core idea and wove it in with some friends who's going to help me write it, and it's never worked out.
Just
So
kick
now
their
to
stuff out.
just to unweave it, it's like
I know it's not easy
it isn't easy. No, no.
because you're
So
you're
that something to keep in mind. I mean, I know we talk about getting help when you need help. It's
yes,
a sign that you want to you've got your idea and your story and your vision is important
yes,
to you, and if it's important enough, you can put ego aside a little bit, but
right,
be careful. Um,
yes,
you could be running into this, in not 5 years, a year.
yes. No, no, no. You're
They could
right.
be like, I don't really want anything to do with that anymore. You can have it.
Get it in
Ooh,
paper.
well,
Get
then
it
you
on
better get
paper.
that in writing. Well, that's such a
Yes.
friendly thing to do. Well, now you're
No, now they're thinking twice about it because they're going, why does he
yeah,
want that written in paper?
right,
Because I
exactly, yeah,
might do something with this down the road.
right. And I'm
Uh,
not saying it's going to be a multi-million-dollar movie franchise, but whatever it is, it's mine.
right, right,
You know,
right. No, I agree.
and that's the sad part of all that.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I think so far we've covered the cons.
oh, the
Mostly.
cons,
We
yeah,
have covered all the bad things. Not all, but a lot of
right,
the
yeah,
bad things, the cons.
right,
The pros of hiring artists is that it helps you keep things moving forward. They're
yes,
working on the
absolutely,
art. If you're the writer, you can keep writing. They're
yep,
turning in artwork. Things are moving forward. If you are the inker, you got stuff coming in, you're inking it, things are
right,
moving forward.
mm-hmm,
If you're the artist and you hire an inker, there again, things are moving forward. It helps keep the whole project moving forward. Big pro.
right,
That was always a
Absolutely.
big plus for me. Is things are moving forward, people's turning in things, and they're all looking
Hmm.
good. Um, Another pro is you've got to make sure you find an artist who fits your story,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
look and feel of your story.
Hmm.
Are they giving
Exactly.
you just like your freaks and gods? He's got the style that fits that story.
Right. Well,
Between the two of you.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank
let me
you.
put it
Yeah.
that way. Yeah,
Yeah. When
I know
I'm done with
you
it,
play
it
with
looks
it,
all, yeah. I do some Photoshop. Actually, I fix it all in Clip Studio, but
right?
yeah. But then I
We
ink
need
it
to show
heavy.
that.
Yeah.
We need to show that sometime. We need to
Yeah, we
show
should.
some of his pencil stuff, and then what you do to it to get the overall look that you're looking for that
Right.
book. We should show
Right.
that. Because Chris is a hell of an artist, by the way. He is. He's not going to say it,
Oh,
but he is.
no,
He
I
is.
never will.
And when he has a vision, he can achieve it. So yeah, so that's a pro, is getting the look of your book, whether
Right.
it's what you want or not. You getting the overall look. And if you're the inker, you can almost take a layout artist and get the look of your book if you're a finisher, not just an
Right.
inker. You're a
Right. Well,
finisher.
in this case, I've actually asked him to pencil slightly above um, like layouts and
Mhm.
slightly under um, finished pencils. And
Right.
then he charged me appropriately, which I think is
Right.
fantastic.
Oh
Because
yeah.
then I'm enough of an artist that I can fix and move things around, and
Right.
there's that way. Another, Steve, you were talking about the pros, like things are getting done. And this
Hmm.
is really important because this is something I learned, and I mentioned it before. I just mentioned it about 5 minutes ago. Um, I see people in the past at conventions who are like stuck in their own mindset that this all has to be mine, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and then they labor and they labor, and 3.5 years later, they're still showing up at shows and they've got now 2 new pages.
Two new pages
I'm
and
exaggerating, but
24
they
minutes.
just
No, 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 you're
they
not. I've
ne-
seen it.
they
Yeah, I've
never
seen it.
really, right.
They
So it's
never
like
move forward.
if you're a penciler, inker, artist, if you're the
Hmm.
whole package, and you want to make sure your book gets, maybe seriously consider hiring an inker. Because
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
you could have your book written, and as you're penciling pages, 5 through 10, he or she is inking pages 1 through 5. Man, it just gets done, and that just gets motivation, and everyone's just
Yes.
all just, it's clicking, and you're, oh, this is
Hmm.
so exciting.
Hmm.
That is something I really think artists who are doing their own comics really should look into.
I do too.
Of course, there's money. I mean, the reason why I've never hired
Right.
a colorist, or the reason why I've never hired a letterer, and I've
Hmm.
gotten a couple of comments saying I should hire a letterer. Oddly enough, I've gotten those comments from letterers.
Oh, well, okay.
you
All
know,
right.
it's because of money. I just had enough budget
Right.
for a penciler,
Right. Right.
and that's all I.
Hmm.
But yeah, that is something that, as you can see, I get really excited about all that, getting the comic book done,
Yes.
and that is such a huge motivator.
It is. It is. And I've hired an inker before.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think you've worked on some stuff
I
for
may
me
have been. Yeah, yeah,
once or twice. And it is because, man, we really got to sit down and talk about all the steps it takes to self-publish, because there's so many other things that you have to do. If you're
yeah.
just a writer, ooh, not that we don't think of all the characters and the worlds and everything that goes along with it, but
Right.
you're just the writer, and you're going to self-publish, then there's the marketing and the
Hmm.
production and the printers and looking at all the digital release plates. I mean, there's so much to be thinking about and working on. It's just like, whoa, it's a little overwhelming.
Hmm.
Especially, the thing is, you've got to produce sort of on a regular basis. Not every month, maybe
Right.
not even 2 months, but at least quarterly, to stay out in front of people. You got
Hmm.
to keep something coming out. So of course, reaching out and hiring an artist, or an artist and thinker, that helps keeps things moving forward. It almost becomes a necessity if you can
Right.
afford it. That's really
Right.
comes down to, what can you afford to get it done.
Right. Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, I have failed at the releasing things. Right now,
right,
I just found out from Invader Comics that number 6 will be in next month's
that long?
previews. Yeah. And then at the end of next month, we'll be doing another Kickstarter for number 6. And I'm excited about that one because that one is underwater space spiders, giant
Oh, all
asteroids.
right. You guys
You got
send me some
commander
pages.
commander battles in it.
All right.
I oh my god, I'm excited about that one. I tried some coloring techniques, which when I, when you're trying something new and you click and you do that final click and you look up, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my
Oh,
god, that worked.
yeah. Yeah. I once had a colorist comment. I did something in Clay's way about snow,
Yeah.
and she commented, "I love that snow." I'm like, "I don't remember how I did it." It was like click, click, click. Oh, that looks cool. Move on. And
Exactly.
that's I hate. It's like, oh, how did I
I
pull that off?
know.
It's like a
Yeah.
recipe when you cook something that's delicious. You have no clue what you threw into it.
You know,
So
stupid sidebar. I used to we do pots of coffee, but in the past, because money, I used to do Keurig K cups all the time. And
right.
I would never like finish the cup. And then I would add a
Oh
different K
no.
cup and I'd add like my and after like 3 cups, like this is the best tasting coffee I've ever had.
It
I
was
can never
three.
repeat it because it
Right.
was
Right.
random mixtures of all the other.
Three
All
different
right.
flavors mixed
That had
together.
that had nothing to do with comics. Well,
No, but
actually, no.
well,
It's reading
actually, it has
comics.
something to
It has
do.
everything to do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it keeps you motivated. But
keeps you
also, it's
going.
like randomly doing stuff like that. You get an awesome, awesome
Right,
technique or
right.
effect from it. But
Oh, I
yeah,
know what we could talk about. One thing quickly.
yes,
Where do you find artists to hire?
duh.
Where? Now, me, what I have done is there was. I don't know if it's still active. So I think I checked it about.
Chris, can you find me an artist?
Okay, and then this is what I would do. I
Okay,
used to go to a website called
okay.
digitalwebbing.com,
I remember
and
digital webbing.
I think they're still up there. They have
Okay,
a want ad and what's that called? Classifieds.
classifieds.
Right. They
Yeah,
would have, art. They would have one section for hiring and then one section for artists looking for work.
right, right.
That was where I found the first 2 people I worked for.
Okay.
I put a posting up there, and Federico responded, and I liked his work, and then
Mhm.
I put uh, another one up there, and then that's how I found Giuseppe. So
Right,
that worked out.
right.
Um, you know what? I think about it. The only one now that I think about it, the only one I didn't hire from digital webbing
Is
was my most recent, which would be Sean.
oh
And
really?
I have a subscription to what used to be the Creeps, but now it's called Shutter. It's an
Okay,
a throwback to the '70s
right.
Creeps magazine.
Mhm.
And Sean had he's a regular artist in that magazine. It's a horror magazine.
Hmm.
So I just Googled his name, found him,
Mhm.
and emailed him, and we worked out uh, a deal. I mean, it was
Cool, cool.
yeah. So I guess you if you're gonna find somebody, I know this is gonna sound terrible, but if you find someone who's never worked before and you don't hire them, then you're not giving that person a shot. But on the
Right.
other hand, if they've done some work, they've proven they can meet deadlines, and then it's a definitely a catch 22.
It is.
You know,
Um, Man, I have given so many people one-time shots over the years. I'm always
Mhm.
up to giving them a shot, but that's where it comes down to. Here's the deadline,
Right?
and if they miss a deadline just by a little bit, then everybody has life. Things happen. If they keep missing it over and over and over, there's an issue. You
Hmm.
know. So, and you gotta consider what you offer them too. Are you looking
Right.
at this huge elaborate piece that realistically they cannot get finished? Then no, that's not real. Something
Hmm.
simple they can turn around that can be used in your book or whatever is promotional, and just sort of try them out, and then give them a little
Right.
bit more, see how they
Hmm.
do. Try to work them up because everybody should have a chance. Everybody should have a shot at getting in it if this is what you want to do. So
Hmm.
it's sort of like just gradually build them up to being success. Bigger thing is make them successful, help them become successful in
Right.
what they're doing.
Well, I
And
hope I
if you're
didn't
a
come
part
off
of
like a
that,
jerk about that.
well, that Chris
I
guy.
don't hire people who haven't worked before.
No,
Well,
that's
I mean, I
right.
understand. Like, if you're looking on the outside and you never hired anybody before, that might be something you would be concerned with.
Oh no, no, I totally agree. I've been worked
But
that
on the
way
other,
too, Chris.
I
You know,
do understand because I was no, I never worked before until someone gave me a shot.
right,
Uh,
right.
And I guess in the industry, the way it changes so much, I haven't had a professional gig from anyone since Joe Books ended. They used to publish Disney stuff
Right.
back like 3 years ago. I guess you could technically say I'm new and I haven't worked before.
I don't agree with that. No, you have established history.
Right. But
I
yeah, I'm
mean,
just,
your portfolio is pretty large about who you've done work with and who you
yeah.
work with. You always work to complete that work. No, I disagree with that.
Okay. Well, I'm just
But
thinking,
I do say being brand new yourself, I agree with you. It would be if you can get a artist who's a little bit seasoned with a portfolio who's turned out some stuff, it
mhm,
makes your life easier because you're going to make mistakes. If even if you're just a writer and you're
right.
trying to handle everything, you're going to stumble and have family issues and stuff like that. So if you can bring in an artist and you can afford bringing in an artist who can do a few of the things, then that helps you.
Right.
You're better. You might want, if you can't afford it, spend a little bit more and bring them in and just see how that goes.
You know
So,
what? I think I'm going to give a little advice to an artist who wants to be hired. Because we're
oh,
talking about people who want to hire artists.
well, yeah, that
But
was a
I
pro.
think
Go
I,
ahead.
d- I do, but there are artists who are watching this. They want to make comics.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
right now, I'm just going to say that your portfolio should not just be cover images. As a matter of fact, if your portfolio has no cover images in it and it's all sequential art,
Mm-hmm.
I think you might be if I was looking for somebody, that portfolio would be I would look at that one first
Yes. I'm more
because
impressed with a portfolio that comes with me with nothing but paid samples.
right, right.
It's like,
And
whoa.
you honestly don't need 35 or 15 or 10. You could just 5
I
because
would say 5 to 10 is a
5 to
nice ratio.
10.
And
Right,
shown different things from
right, yeah.
perspective stuff
Hmm.
to conversational,
Right.
layouts to just show different
Yeah.
thing. Show that you can really draw dinosaur. No.
Like, yeah, people at a restaurant,
Hmm. Conversational.
superhero fight, monsters,
Hmm.
people putting groceries away.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, just any,
Hmm.
and the thing is, the reason why, they say, yeah, but more, you got to show all my work. Well,
You can do that. You can
excuse
do
me.
that later.
Right. But what someone told me once back in the day was, you show me, 15 pages. In every page, you're making the same mistake.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh. So he's like,
Yeah.
so first of all, you don't need to show us this many pages. That's
Right.
why. If you make a mistake, you're going to keep making that mistake.
Right.
That's why you'd only need 5 to 10 pages.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
But just yeah, and be cool about it too. If you send your portfolio, wait.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, nowadays
Sorry.
you can have your full portfolio online. So if you want to give them more, you can always give them more. Once they
Right.
request it, once they ask for it, there's an easy way to get it there.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
guess
if you
Deviant Art's still a thing.
yeah, they are.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's one way to get
You
your
could
portfolio
make
up.
what I've done was I've made a folder. You can make specific portfolios.
True.
This is my, this is my
Hmm.
sequential art. This is,
Hmm.
and then just send a link to that.
That sounds
Um,
cool.
yeah, I mean, yeah. But remember, you're not going to become rich.
I'm not going to say you're not going to become rich, but it all comes around to building a fan base. Whether you're an artist, you're going to hear me
Yeah.
say this every podcast. Every
Yes.
podcast,
Yep.
I'm
Here
going to
we
say
go.
this.
Build a
And it's
fan base.
build your brand, that's
Yep.
yourself, and build your fan base. With
Yeah.
that, you can make a decent living. You know,
Yes.
yes, you
You
can.
can. Yeah.
You can make a
And
decent living,
mhm,
and work in something you love.
right.
So
Now, just remember though, in the meantime, you may have to have a real job.
Yeah.
The reason
Yeah.
why I bring this up is because I was
Yeah.
at a convention probably about 10 years ago, and popular editor who for a popular company, I won't say either, had this big meeting in this like room, like
Mhm.
and it was a portfolio review. And for some reason, I still think I have to stand in line when I could just go talk to an editor. I don't know,
right. Right.
but I went in there to see what was going on, and this person was saying that you have to suffer for your art, live in your parents' basement, your friend's basement, mooch off everybody. It's the only way to be a true artist. I got up and left.
Oh, good.
I got up and left.
Good.
I just got up and just because that is
That's
not
not
right.
true. No. No.
No, no, that's
No.
not right. Boy, that was off on a tangent. Holy cow.
That is bringing the bar way down, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, whether you're the artist or the writer, whatever, work on that fan base, build that fan base. And that's going to go a long way for you, a very
Hmm.
long way for you.
Right.
So yeah, but getting rich off of it, it's slim. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Right.
I've got a good friend who had a great property, went out and had some wonderful things do for it. Unfortunately, another company got involved in it, and guess who's making the money?
The other company.
Not him. And it was all his
Yep.
ideas. It was all his
Hmm.
concepts. But the
Yeah.
other company's benefiting from it. So
Not cool.
you got to be careful out there too. So
Yep.
pros and cons of an artist.
Hiring
Pros.
an artist.
Hiring an artist. You got pros and cons of hiring an artist. And we're going to throw inkers and pencilers in here together.
Yep.
Pro is keeping things moving forward,
Hmm.
getting a look you're happy with. Don't
Yep.
hire an artist if you're not going to be happy with the way they draw your characters in your world. Make sure
Correct.
it fits within that. Cons, not getting it done because the artist has no track record. He gets lost, and never have payments pre-scheduled out so everybody knows exactly what's going on. Don't offer advances or stuff like that because I would tell you will get burnt several
Yeah.
times.
I've seen discussions on Facebook groups, artists saying, "Oh, I don't work unless I get 10% down."
Mhm.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't see it that way.
I guess there's a good chance they don't work.
Who
Period.
knows?
I don't mind paying something for layouts. If it's
Yeah.
all staggered out, I don't mind
Right.
that at all. But because they put the work in, they're going to do layouts. That's fine. But make sure it's broken down to how much per page, how many layouts are turned at a time, and schedules are kept. Because the
Right.
whole pro of this is keeping things moving forward.
Right. Doing things you either can't do or don't want to
Right.
spend the time because you got other things you need to do.
Right.
And if they're not doing it, then that's terrible that this whole conversation comes down to
what can we say?
That's it. Boy, I just got a bad feeling there were more cons in this than pros.
I think there was, but
it bothers me.
it's good to realize it. I've
Yeah.
had wonderful things happen in working with artists, So, there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons. But going in as a person who wants to create a comic, whether it's publishing it or taking it to a publisher's, just have everything set up in advance.
Right.
So I mean, it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing to be in a situation where things doesn't work out, but then at the end of that, make sure everybody knows, yeah, this didn't work out. My cash flow didn't come through or blah, blah, blah. Make sure everybody knows who owns what at the end of the day.
Right. Oh,
It ain't like that. They can run off with your book and take it to somebody else. No, wait a minute.
Mhm.
I created that,
Right.
So, but I think we did a decent job covering pros and cons of hiring an artist,
I will take your word for that, Bob. I'm still
right.
think that we leaned a little too heavy on the cons.
Well, I'm sure many, many times down the road, we'll bring this back up and there'll be more pros. There'll be more pros.
Yeah.
So, all right. So if you
maybe
have
because
I'm sorry,
maybe because the pros are so like there's like one or two or three, but they're so fantastic.
Well,
That
yeah,
could be
'cause
it. Like getting that penciler, getting those pages. Like, oh my god, that's the best.
oh, it is. It is the
Outweighs
best.
3, 4, 5 cons that you know.
Oh, when you get those pages and you go, "Oh my gosh, this looks so much better than I wrote or I
Mm-hmm.
imagined." You go,
Right.
"Wow." Or you're looking at a couple pages and the flow's all there and you just want to start lettering because you know the story.
Right.
It
Yeah.
may not be the exact story that you typed, but it's like, "Oh, this is great." And just start lettering and doing all this stuff because it's just amazing. That's a huge pro. It kept moving forward because you brought
Right.
somebody in to help you. So,
Yeah. All right.
but
Now I'm happy. Now
all
I'm feeling
right,
good.
all right.
Now I'm feeling good. We got some
Chris is
pros
happy.
here.
That's
This is
all that
great.
matters. All right. So you want to
That's-
drop us a note or ask us questions or give us some pros. There you go. Up
yeah.
above will be Sketch Magazine at nostalgicnetwork.com. Drop an email. We're here because Nostalgic Network was able to bring us on, put on this podcast again for Sketch Magazine. And I would be reluctant to not say that Sketch 47 is currently in the works. It will be hitting Kickstarters mid-April. Originally, I thought it would be early April, but it will be mid-April. It features Bo Smith with Wyona Earp. He's got a lot of stories to tell us, from taking comic books to TV shows, and it's going to be great. I spent some time yesterday talking to Bo, and it's going to be fun. So that will be out. The Kickstarter will happen in April. The issue should be out in July, is when it's scheduled to go to print and start shipping. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get Sketch back out and get it going. So if you like to watch these podcasts, please subscribe
Yep.
to our channel at Nostalgic Network and hit the bell if you want to be notified. And hey, that's it.
Yeah.
Pros and cons.
I got nothing. I don't think I have much left to say about all that.
I'm so choked up, it's over. Oh no.
So
All right.
just a bunch of old guys coughing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right. We'll end it on that note.
All right.
Coughing our lives away.
All right, Bob.
All right.
It's great talking to you.
Buddy. Take care, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.